Hi again, it's Lori, and I work as a psychic medium. And I've been talking to and researching Stephen Hawking. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about him. I've got him up here. He was an English theoretical physicist. He's very well known for his work, and very appreciated throughout his lifetime. Interesting character. I heard about him several times. He even made a lot of sitcoms. Just his character. He did documentaries, raised all sorts of money for colleges, for more physicists, for more studies. Okay, he died this year in spring, in March. He was 76 years old. He lived a very handicapped life, and because of his handicaps, he worked with other physicists and IT people, computer engineers, physical therapists, healers, all sorts of dietitians, all sorts of people to help him live and still communicate science. Okay, he wanted to talk about things. You know, he lived a fairly good life for someone who was so very handicapped and had love around him, but not at an early age. Okay, he was very kind of dwarfed, so stunted from stress and abuse. But he was allowed to study science. It's like, this is the path for you, Stephen. You are allowed to have science in your life. And with science in your life, you will raise to wealth. And that was his path. He was allowed to do it, and he loved it. And because he loved it, he was rewarded with more education that his family, luckily, could afford. And he was in a location in England where he had access to it. So he felt fortunate that way, that he was able to survive a life and be cared for versus just shoved off on earth, which happens to so many people. Okay, and when I'm talking to Stephen Hawking and I'm asking him questions and studying his career, life, as I have, not too much in depth, but more, and as a fan of his, we talked about the physics of spirit communication. We're all psychic, we're all medium, we're all in a human body, which is energetic. It's an energetic, growing or decaying body. It depends on where you're at in life, or healing. It's amazing, actually, we can heal our whole lives. Our bodies might give out, but we can always be in a state of healing with other physical and life put into us. Food like plants and proteins such as aquaculture or non-dairy proteins, different beans that they can make at the highest nutrition, the highest calcium. He's amazed by it. He was always amazed how he could do what he did. So look him up and watch some other videos about him. It's just amazing that he could pass on intelligence through the computer when he couldn't even talk. And we have so much more that we can offer if we can protect our children. Everybody, every nationality, every race of children are brilliant. And he wants us to protect them more and learn more about our civilization's existence and our history. Okay. He wants to talk more about the physics of spirit communication. And that's what I'm getting as I study mediumship with Stephen Hawking. So if we're energy and we can sense energy and we use energy on the computer and lights, we can capture energy, we can see, hear, touch, feel energy, we feel friction, we can sense people we like and don't like. Animals sense us. They're very good with their energy because they have to survive with energy in the wild. So how do we control our energy? How can we measure energy that is no longer what we consider in life, human life? We were taught, I was taught, and I'm hearing Stephen was taught, that once you die, you go far away to heaven, completely out of the picture. And you're gone, you rest in peace, and you go to spirit world. That's what he was taught. Some God, depends on your language, too, and how it's interpreted. But in all truth, we're connected souls. And if we have this type of technology after such a disruptive life on Earth, so much cruelty, that we can do this internet, can you imagine what heaven has? And I'll use the word heaven, which is an English word for spirit world. Communication is massive. If we can heal our senses enough to hear it, or our sensibilities, our touch, our clairvoyance, our visions, our hearing, okay, our predictions, our gut feelings. We can sway to people. We can sway to spirit world and say, what is our first thought? What is our gut feeling? If we can't directly hear, can we get the concepts quickly? This is all that energy, reaction, action. So if you study physics, you can understand even more the logic of mediumship or psychic or empathic or intuitive communication. When people are at their healthiest, they can get the most. You don't have to be your healthiest to get messages, but you get most of your messages when you're at your healthiest. You know, and if you get healthier and healthier, you can get more messages. The other time are changes in life. Okay, when our physical body changes. Sometimes for women it's menopause. Sometimes for men it's when hormones drop off or pick up at a young age, at a teenage years, you know. They always say gifted as a child. Well, there's all sorts of energy changes. There's growth, there's needs. So both girls and boys can pick up usually throughout their childhood. More spirit messages, more physics or physical messages. He wants to talk about the pendulum, which I don't have. Look it up. I don't have it in front of me. But it's basically a plumb bob or an instrument that's used to measure energy. Can it move with your touch? How can it move if you hold it still? So check that out. It was used for centuries, actually thousands and thousands of years. It's been called a pendulum for maybe centuries, to measure energy around the world, magnetic and even spirit energy. Just because it's not in our current history of the last several hundred years doesn't mean it didn't exist throughout our civilization. So what he is telling me is that spirit communication was one of his studies, if you believe that we are created in our heaven or spirit world and now we're in life on earth, which I hear is just one lifespan of experience. That we have had spirit communication the entire existence of this connected civilization which we're in, okay, which we live in. So we just haven't used it because we've had such an abusive, scared world. And we're still very scared in this world. We don't know how we're going to survive, how we're going to pay our bills, how we're going to do this, how we're going to have fun, how can we have vacation. All stressors which affect our physics, our physical energy, and then we cannot hear our spirit friends, our guides, our heaven. And then people who are so aggressive because of abuse, raised to power and keep the people who are in stress, so they can't make the changes needed. So that's a division of wealth. In heaven, they say you can't take it with you because you don't have it, and you're not supposed to have it on earth. So look up physics and energy, study a little. Why can I hear and another person not hear? Well, maybe you're good at hearing through art or through mathematics, through yoga or through exercise, through astrophysics, through engineering, through medicine, through food preparation. Everyone can get psychic messages and have their own natural ability or skills to use them. That's the diversity of communication. So I guess that's about it for Stephen Hawking right now. But remember, we are all psychic and medium. And we are all from an abused civilization. You know how they say it's in every family? It's because it's in every family. abuse cycle and lack of communication about the abuse cycle. People go quiet. Sometimes they have lack of memory or strokes, or they just can't emotionally talk about it. Or they can have split energy patterns, which means even split personality, or maybe a trigger will help them remember or help them react, sometimes dangerously. That's a physics response. We are made of physics, and spirit world is physics. We can communicate, okay? That's basically his message. Hopefully more to come again. He's really fun to talk to. Call on him, okay? See what you can get. Doodle, draw, try, okay? And have a great night. Thank you for listening.